It's time for the KickAround, the Ticket's weekly show all about soccer. 2 hours of HSOs on the clubs, leagues, and tournaments of the world's game. It doesn't matter if you're new to the sport, don't worry. This is the Ticket. We're just kicking it around. Now, here's two guys who still have their moms drive them to practice. Andy Swift and Peter Welpton.
Louis Reeds. Oh, it's glorious! One of the great FA Cup goals from Louis Reeds.
Courtesy check on J.J. Watt. Courtesy check on J.J. Watt. Howdy ho, P1s, and welcome to the KickAround. Saturdays here in our most comfortable of places. Saturdays 2 to 4 on Sports Radio 96.7 and 1310 AM, where you, the good P1, gets excited about the World Cup, sits around, talks soccer, and all that implies. Don't forget, you can also find us on our website, thekickaround.com. Hi, it's me, Peter. To my left, but to your right, as you stare with great anticipation, love, and a bag of popcorn, it is the world's most interesting man, Andy Dalton Swift.
Hello, Peter. Staying dry. Saw you as you were walking into the building. You were all hooded up.
I have
in your big head there.
That's right. I do have a big head. I have a nifty raincoat that I don't get to wear very often because it's like a legit serious full body thing with a hood and the whole bit.
I got to describe, man. You were walking. The pace was a little bit quicker than normal. You already have a swift pace, and I call it a swift pace because I do too. But you do have a quick pace to you. But today was quicker. But you had your bag slinged over like a good European that you are.
Right.
Okay.
Faux European,
yeah, but
sir.
Underneath that, like underneath the bag over your clothes, was your very nifty raincoat, and with the that big old hood.
Well, it's just a hood on the raincoat.
But man, you were so proud that you were just manning that rain as you were heading into the building.
When I left the house, I hit this patch of rain right at its apex, and the streets were flooding around the house and everything. And then, of course, I got out and I'm all ready. I'm like all geared up for it.
Yeah.
And I get out to the parking lot. It's like, sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. I really didn't need the coat.
Okay. But you wanted to wear it.
I did. And I was running a bit late, so I was in a hurry to get over here. I have to pull the goal call for EA.
It's all that FA Cup action.
It is. Well, hello, everybody. Yes, speaking of FA Cup action, that was the goal that you heard was the shocker of the day. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, catch up on the scoreboard. We will hear from Lars today. In fact, for those of you who are Spurs fans, we're going to do, an entire segment dedicated to the drama going on at Spurs.
When is that? What time? So people can
That'll
tune
happen
in?
Probably in like 30 minutes.
Okay,
Andy. Yeah,
all right.
Right, and we'll hear from Lars. Lars providing his perspective on the hiring and firing.
The relegation danger Spurs, by the way.
He will speak as to the dangers of the drop. Yes.
Right.
We also have a really good World Cup nerd today. We're going to dig into the great moment of when Maradona came to Dallas and then didn't come to Dallas.
And then didn't play? Oh, he was here, my friend.
Well, he was, you know what I mean. Yeah. He was here, but not here. Yeah. Back in 1994. That was great. And yes, we missed it last week. Andy and I have not had a chance to talk about this, so we will spend a few minutes later on in the show addressing and discussing, maybe debating, the incident at the end of the Liverpool-Man City game. Have you recovered from that Sunday drama?
Not so much the goal, whatever, one way or the other, but the result was... That was it. That was the dagger, man, for me. The season, that was it.
All right, let's do the most important of all the segments.
Soccer headlines. Soccer headlines.
Soccer headlines.
Well, he has done it. Harry Kane has now scored 500 senior career goals for both club and country.
For him, he is a machine. Now, he's halfway to Pele.
Talk about a mic drop, Mr. South America.
Exactly. So, but no.
But that is actually, that is interesting that you put it in that perspective. Like, we're making a big deal out of Harry Kane doing this. Now, it took him, 405 games, 280 for Tottenham, 126 for Bayern Munich, 78 for England, and then don't forget, he also had 9 for Millwall, 5 for Leyton Orient, our friend Kent Teague's team, and 2 for Leicester City. So there you go. 400.
Sorry.
No, yeah, 405 games.
Is his stretch now at Bayern more impressive than what he did back in the Premier League?
Let's try this. In 320 Premier League games, he scored 213 goals. I'm getting all this from Squawka, which is a really good stats
off the top
outlet.
Of your head?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I wish I could tell you. In the Bundesliga, he has scored 88 goals in 85 games.
Oh, yeah. So now, is the defending as good in Bundesliga as it is in the Premier League? I would say no.
Right. Well, he hit a brace today in their 3-0 win, and Bayern's 3-0 win over Werder Bremen. So they sit atop the Bundesliga still. Leverkusen beat up on St. Pauli 4-0 today over in the Bundesliga. I think we all would like to believe that there is a race going on, as Borussia Dortmund now is still 6 points behind, but Andy's sniffling over there tells you that it's unlikely for sure. Are you going to say something? Go ahead.
I was just
say it out loud.
Do we? Yeah, no.
What are you afraid of?
No. I just as we've often talked about the Bundesliga, you know how I feel about that. Really, just being a one-team league, it gets kind of boring.
Looking at Italy, our Fiorentina, which are struggling not to get relegated, won a big one today over Como, the little tiny club Como, which are in 7th, by the way. Fiorentina ended up winning that game and now are tied on 21 points, but are behind Lecce on goal differential. So maybe our Italian team will get out of it. Inter is playing Juve as we speak. Weston McKennie appear, at least according to the FOTMob lineup, looks to be playing the 10.
Wow. He's all over the map, man.
And he has an assist in that game. And that game's 1-1 between Juve and Inter. So
is he Pulisic's backup on the national team?
No, he's not. No, he's not. Let's see. I've been having a lot of this. The discourse of people contacting me, asking me about World Cup tickets, suddenly has had a new spurt of late. And I don't know if this is because people got through the third lottery round and didn't get tickets either, and are now just desperately trying to pull whatever string.
Okay.
A lot of them just don't know, and they're shocked to hear that I don't have a ticket.
Right.
And for any of the games.
And there's another round coming, too.
And there's another round coming, and then you ultimately get into the conversation about third party, resale, that kind of thing.
Those tickets are out already, too.
People are posting them to the FIFA official. It's called the Marketplace. So when you go to the FIFA website, the ticket section, it's broken up into 3 categories. Tickets, which are unsold game day tickets. There's hospitality, which is the super expensive suite enterprise. Is that what you call it? Enterprise level ticket?
Hospitality.
Yeah, but it's called hospitality, but I'm trying to describe why it's so expensive. It's like what you sell if you own a business and you want to entertain people.
Sure, yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then there's the Marketplace, which is FIFA's official resale portal. Well, they're putting tickets up there, and some of the tickets, have you seen some of the pricing?
I have not.
Yeah, I saw a tweet the other day.
Like a markup? Slight markup.
Oh, yeah. There was one. Let's see. One, I'm going to read this from one of the stories. One category 3 seat, which is the third tier of seating for the World Cup final, was being advertised in the portal for $143,750.
Yeah, but nobody's going to buy that.
Right.
That's just a joke.
The cheapest ticket currently available on the Marketplace for the final is $9,775.
That's comparable to the Super Bowl.
The original face value price of that ticket was $3,400.
Yeah.
So they're selling it essentially for 3 times, right?
Lower than the Super Bowl. So right now the final is comparable, if not slightly lower than the Super Bowl. The final may go up. What I still say, though, this is my feeling. I think you agree with me. Once it's all said and done, like, how many venues do we have? We have 104 games across 13, 14 venues all through. But let's just talk about the U.S. That's 11 venues, 13, something like that.
Whatever.
let's say 80 games in the U.S. times 80,000. That's a lot of seats, man.
It is, and I keep telling everybody, look, when it comes down to it, there will be games that are not high profile, and you'll be able to get a ticket for less than $200, or maybe even less because somebody decides to sell it an hour before game time, and you end up missing kickoff, and you get in.
And they might not be 50-yard line seats or whatever.
No, they'll be crummy seats.
You'll get in.
If you just want to go experience the World Cup, that will be available. If you want to go to Argentina, if you want to go to one of the Argentine games here, or England, Croatia, good luck to your wallet. It's just, it is. They're just that big of a deal, and that's the reality of it. We're going to talk about Spurs in a little bit. We've talked about this with Man United. Other clubs are going to be, we assume, out looking for a manager. And Thomas Tuchel, currently the manager at England, has always been a name kind of dangled out there. Well, he now has extended his contract with England through the Euros, which are in 2028.
Yeah. Did that surprise you that England went ahead and just did that quickly like that? Because they didn't want to lose him, I guess. And
no,
he's done okay.
Right, because if he has a great World Cup and they want to keep him, it's better to price him now than afterwards. And if he has an absolute ass World Cup, they part ways.
Yeah.
The thing that the problem with trying to hire a manager post World Cup is that more than likely you're going to end up hiring a guy whose last job did not end well. Unless they get to a semifinal or whatever, or they miss expectations.
Let's say Pochettino, if he takes the U.S. to the semis, he's still leaving.
100%. But if Pochettino bombs out in the group stage, our Spurs is interested in him, or any club is interested.
What about Man United?
Or any club. Yeah, 100%. I think that's an interesting part of that. And real quick, Nottingham Forest and Marinakis are now officially Premier League record holders. It's the first time in Premier League history that a club has employed not one, not two, not three, but 4 managers in the course of one season, as they sacked Sean Dice since we've last spoken.
And we are, slightly past the halfway point?
Yep.
4 managers already.
They hired Vitor Pereira, who formerly last was with Wolves. So congratulations.
He followed Nuno at Wolves. I mean, I think there were a couple in between him and Nuno at Wolves, but he's following Nuno here at Forest too.
Yes, 100. So good luck to them. There's an actual interesting article up on ESPN kind of tracking the history of Premier League teams that have fired 3 guys and the times it's worked. And
most of the time
it's not worked. No.
It's
Crystal
not the
Palace.
coach.
I think Crystal Palace in 14-15 hired 3 managers and stayed up. And I think Swansea, this next season hired 3 managers and stayed up. So fingers crossed for you, Forest.
Not the coach.
Maybe not. No. We'll see. No. All right. That does it for headlines. We got a lot of show to get to. Let's get into the upset of the day in the FA Cup, and we'll talk about it next here on the KickAround.
Barry White threw him off a little bit.
No,
it's Valentine's Day and all.
EA is being a radio hero today. He's pulling double duty. He's having to fill in and run the board and produce the show. Good on good old fuzzy old EA. So welcome back to the KickAround. We'll have the segment where we just spend an entire segment breaking down all the drama at Spurs. We'll hear from Lars, and we'll do that in about 15 minutes here on the KickAround. First up today is good old FA Cup weekend action. Have you watched any FA Cup, Andy?
Yeah. I had him on.
Did you get up?
I did I didn't watch the 6:30, but I had the goal show.
The wraparound show.
Yeah, well, they call it the goal show. They basically show one game until somebody scores a goal.
Right.
In another game.
Yeah.
Go to that.
Yeah.
All right.
So yesterday, we should first say yesterday in the FA Cup, pretty interesting stuff. Chelsea got a big win over Hull. Liam Senior went back to some of his roots. I don't remember if he played for Hull or if he's just from that community. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's one or the other or both. But that was a big win for Chelsea. And Wrexham won also yesterday.
They did.
And now for the first time, they're in the final 16 since...
It's like 37 years.
Yeah, 97 or something like that.
Yeah. 29 years, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But they beat Ipswich, which is one of the teams that they're chasing as well, right, for those playoff spots. So that was also telling.
So good for them, and they'll move into the final, I guess, Great 8 group. I don't know. Sweets. Is it the number of teams or the number of games?
Huh?
So it would be Sweet 16, mean 16 teams?
Right, yes.
Okay.
Now it's round of 16 or round 5, as they call it in the FA Cup.
Very good.
Anything else you need?
No,
soccer-wise?
Just help me catch up.
Okay.
Then the early game this morning.
No idea.
West Ham visiting Burton Albion, which, by the way, sport one of my favorite shirt designs in the ye old half panel. Half black, half...
Very old school.
Kind of that pukey gold, yellow, cheddar cheese color. Kind of dig that. And, man, this was not a fun game to watch. Did you watch? You didn't see any of this.
No, not this one, no.
I will give credit to Burton, though. They tried. They kind of they tried to Bert tried to stuff it up and make it a difficult game for West Ham, which is already having problems themselves. But Somerville scored again. I think this is his 5th or 6th goal in 6 or 7 games.
Added extra time.
And in extra time. It did have to go to extra time.
Burton was sad, huh?
Yeah, very sad Bert. Sad Bert.
It's Albion.
I know. I was just calling him Bert.
Okay.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
I just because it just sounded like Bert.
Sure.
Actually, it's a really nice little stadium. Yeah. I had not seen that stadium before. It came across really nicely on television.
Nice.
I thought it was great. I do love the FA Cup because that's when via ESPN we get looks at all these EFL grounds. Some of them are small. I think Burton Albion is fighting relegation in League One, just to kind of give you perspective of where they are versus a Premier League team. And the stadiums are such that, they're not fully enclosed. So the main field camera, when it kind of cuts over to that far corner to the left-hand side or kind of points to that part of the field, you're essentially looking at the parking lot.
Yeah, because there's that gap, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I just think
Princess Way.
I do dig it. It is pretty great. So those were, and then there was a whole bunch of 9:00 games, and obviously as we played in the Open, the big one was Premier League club down, Burnley. Oh no, poor Burnley. They're just not having a good time. I just want to refresh everybody. Burnley essentially mowed through the championship last year and allowed like negative 14 goals.
Got J.J. Watt to buy him. He's like,
he's a part owner.
Okay.
He's not the sole owner. But they lost today 2-1 to Mansfield Town. Now, Mansfield Town is in
they're in League One.
League One.
Mid-table. Mid to lower.
So they're actually higher than Burton Albion. So there you go.
Yeah. They're still
they're
not very
13th.
Good.
No, they're not good enough to be beating a Premier League team. But, yep, they did. What am I talking about? They won today, so good for them as they won 2-1.
Things not going well at Turf Moor.
No, I am curious as to if they'll try to pull the plug like Nottingham Forest did on.
There's no saving the season. They're not gonna.
Yeah, what point would it have in getting rid of them now? It's not like they're gonna pull themselves out of the fire at this point. And that's interesting. I feel bad for. I mean, you know who I feel bad for? Our former producer, Josh.
I'm sure he's distraught.
Do you even think he's paying attention anymore?
I do.
Oh, do you?
I think so.
You think he's still paying attention?
Because he followed. There was a family reason he followed Burnley, related to his father.
I think I'm forgetting. I think I'm mixing him up with former KickAround producer Tim Kay, who had adopted Everton. Is he still watching soccer?
There's no chance.
Zero chance.
Whatever.
Right.
And
I thought so too.
Right.
Yep. All right, so let's get back to the scores. Norwich won 3-1 over West Brom. Southampton beat Leicester City. Boy, Leicester City is in trouble. They had the points deduction.
Oh,
They've lost some games. Now they're out of the cup. Could you imagine the 2016 Premier League champion may be playing in League One in 2026-27?
Yeah, they're
10 years later.
It's a real possibility, man.
Boy, that would be a crime.
As fast as they go up, they come crashing down.
Now, I didn't watch this game, but I am just now catching up and seeing that Newcastle has bested Unai Emery and Aston Villa 3-1 at Aston Villa. Now, they did have a red card.
Yes. So you haven't seen even highlights?
I haven't seen highlights or anything. Why don't you?
Well, Villa went up 1-0, and it was their a backup keeper who's starting a cup game. I forget his name.
Bizot.
Bizot. Just came out, clumsy tackle outside of the box, about 30 yards from the goal on a breakaway, and gets a red card. Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
And so they go down 10 men, and halftime whistle blows. And at that point, and this is a good question. I'm going to ask you this question. Would you rather start the second half a man up or a goal up? You'd rather have the 1-0 with only 10 men, or you'd rather be down 0-1 and have the man advantage?
I'd rather have the man advantage.
I think so, right?
Yeah, because you've got 45 minutes to score a goal, and you like to think that you could do that.
They scored 3.
Now, if my team stinks at scoring goals, I'll take the goal advantage.
But
if I'm Saudi-owned Newcastle, I'll take
if you're the powerhouse
advantage.
100%.
Okay. So Villa out of the FA Cup and playing right now, just about halftime. Andy, are you watching them on? Your phone is on. Is that what
my phone is on? What do you mean by that?
You're watching the Liverpool game.
Yeah, because it's not on regular television.
We're doing a radio show.
Liverpool
was playing like doo-doo.
Mm-hmm.
They're up 1-0
not
over
today,
Brighton.
buddy. Not today.
They're balling out today. Then, of course, there are games tomorrow to look out for. Birmingham City. Leeds is playing Birmingham, which will be an interesting game. Good old Grimsby. Isn't Grimsby the team that beat United it feels like 100 years ago with Amron hiding in the dugout? Was that? No, that was this FA Cup run, or was that last FA Cup run?
Oh man, I don't remember.
Good Lord, that was a long time ago. They've got Wolves, Sunderland against Oxford, Stoke City and Fulham, and Arsenal and Wigan.
Macclesfield, though, that's the story, right? That's non-league playing Brentford.
Is that on Monday?
They're at home.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is on Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other one I meant to mention, City beat up on Salford City 2-0. That's interesting because Salford is owned by Gary Neville and some other former Manchester United guys. They went to City to play this game, and I'm telling you, that game was way closer than it should have been.
Yeah, it was not a bad game because last year
Pep was pissed.
Was he?
Yes,
he's always pissed.
It was an own goal earlier in the game, and then a Mark Guillet kind of tap in on a scramble off of a corner kick to make it 2-0.
City beat him last year 7 or 8-0 FA Cup.
That's right. Yeah, 100%. So that was an interesting, fun watch. Although it couldn't have bothered Gary Neville too much because he wasn't there, because I read that he was on a skiing vacation.
Okay,
so he skipped his clubs.
Okay, no. That's not very Ryan Reynolds-like, is it?
No. You think
Ryan Reynolds is right there with the people, man.
That's right. 100. Got it. All right, there's your FA Cup scoreboard wrap-up. When we come back, Spurs fans, gather around the radio or your streaming device. We're going to get Lars, and we're going to talk about all that Spurs drama next year on the KickAround. Harken back to the golden age of 1994 when Diego Maradona was coming to Dallas for the World Cup. We'll tell that story, or at least Andy will tell that story in World Cup Nerd coming up in about 15 minutes on the KickAround. Now, welcome back. Now, Andy is a Liverpool fan. I'm a Manchester United fan. We've all been through the drama of your club sucking and firing a manager.
We're going through it now.
You are?
Liverpool. No,
you're not.
No,
Stop it.
No.
Maybe. Let's see how the game goes today. And
Back off.
I'm going through it with Manchester United. It's gotten a little better, obviously. I have to admit, I am a bit shook over how the Thomas Frank thing went down with Tottenham Hotspur.
What do you mean? What do you mean shook? Like,
I thought it would go better. 1, 2. I feel like.
But why are you shook?
I'm getting there.
Okay.
I am shook because I really believe in him and feel like what has gone on in his very short tenure is more about the injury crisis that team is under and less about his quality as a manager. And Lars and other people are insisting to me, no, Peter, he just is not good at this.
Okay, well, I'll bring it up now then.
Okay.
So there's part of me that thinks with Andrews doing so well, Mike Andrews?
Kevin Andrews,
right.
At Brentford,
yes.
The guy that replaced him at Brentford.
Doing so well with Brentford.
Which, by the way, this is part of, I think, is interesting. Andrews wasn't even their first choice. There was another assistant coach they initially were going to hire to replace, and that guy took another job.
Correct.
Right.
And people are like, this Brentford's going, and they've done really, really well.
Yeah.
Which shows that thing is well run, the system they have for acquisition, analytics, blah, blah, blah. So does that take the luster off Thomas Frank a little bit as well? And does that point to maybe he's not the coach we thought he was?
Yeah.
A little bit at least.
Maybe, I suppose. Now, obviously, as part of our crew, Lars is our Spurs fan. Lars has been a Spurs fan his entire life. His dad introduced him to Spurs. He's gone to Spurs games, blah, 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 blah. Unfortunately, Lars could not be with us live on the show today. But through the miracle of digital audio recordings in the internet, I asked Lars just to record a few thoughts about some things. So here is Lars's general overview about the situation going on at Spurs.
So this week saw the departure of Thomas Frank from the head coach position at Tottenham. Not a huge surprise, given that Tottenham are 16th in the table and are on an absolutely dreadful run of results. The decision to fire Frank has led to a fair amount of discussion and whether you could really call it soul searching, but certainly a debate over where Tottenham are, whether this team is manageable in any context. What exactly should the ambition and the requirements for the Spurs manager be? And there'll be divided opinions on that. But personally, I would break it down to something as simple as payroll. Tottenham had the 7th highest wage bill in the division. So with the 7th highest wage bill, maybe it's not realistic to challenge for titles, but you certainly shouldn't be 16th in the league. There was the injury crisis, which has been very bad. Tottenham have been without key members of the squad all season. There are questions over how well the squad has been composed in general. There are certain types of players that appear to be missing. But again, the stylistically, the way they played was pretty terrible. The team hasn't been able to put a pass together for months. The fans were very disgruntled with that. The results were clearly very bad. They only won 2 games at home in the league this season under Thomas Frank, one of them coming against Burnley, who are pretty terrible. There was just really no sense of this going in any kind of promising direction. And the latest reporting suggests the players had really very much lost faith in what Thomas Frank was trying to do with the team as well. So an inevitable decision, it seems like, and especially Spurs being close enough to the relegation spots that relegation feels like a possibility, 5 points above West Ham in 18th. It was definitely time to do something to try to inject some energy and positivity into the group.
They haven't put a pass together in months.
Okay, so Lars was really, if he was here, he would talk a lot about their inability to pass the ball forward.
Yeah.
And I got to be honest, I'll remember back at the very early stages of Thomas Frank's time, and I remember sending Lars a WhatsApp note of, what in the world has Thomas Frank done to Dooku? Remember, they signed him from West Ham, and he's a dribbly boy. Like, he's a go-at-defender kind of guy. And
that's his thing.
That's his bit, and I couldn't get out of my head this moment in time where Spurs wins a ball in their half the field, and it's their opportunity to transition and counterattack. And they play the ball up to Dooku on the right-hand side, and he's kind of like 5 feet away from Thomas Frank. And I don't know if Frank said something to him or if his looming presence just had that kind of effect on him. But they play a ball to Dooku, and instead of turning and going straight at goal, although now it's another 50 yards away, he stops, puts his foot on the ball, and passed it backwards and let everybody catch up.
And Frank is right by him.
And Frank is near him, and I'm like, what
did Frank tell him to do that?
So I think that was kind of the early sign, and that's indicative of what I think was driving Lars and other Spurs fans nuts. I also didn't realize, do you realize Frank's win rate was less than Amram's? 26.9%. In 37 games across all things, he was 13 wins, 10 draws, 14 losses, and statistically, he is the worst ever manager of Spurs.
Okay, that's bad, but worse than Amorim. Okay, Amorim had United. That's a different animal.
Okay. Yeah.
Can't compare that.
Yeah.
But it is Spurs.
It is Spurs.
I mean, that's a big club.
It is. So they have now put in Are you excited about how many Igors we have playing or coaching in the Premier League?
It doesn't either excite me or not excite me.
Okay, I think if I
Are
ever
you
have
a
a
name
son,
nerd also?
I'm going to name him Igor. I love that name. Here's Lars talking about the coaching situation now and in the future.
So as interim coach of Tottenham, we have Igor Tudor, a Croatian former defender who has had a mixed career as a manager. I think it's fair to say. Had a pretty successful spell at Verona in Italy, but has had various jobs and has frequently been deployed as a kind of firefighter as well. Someone who can come in over a pretty short period of time and have a big effect on a team. Hasn't really stuck around anywhere for a very long time. The big element of risk here is that he hasn't been a manager in England before, so that is a new world and a new culture to him. His teams have typically played with three at the back. They've typically been quite aggressive and physical and attacked in a quite direct manner. So it's not a massive departure, really, from Thomas Frank. But that's probably good in the short term, given that this is just a case of getting Spurs to grab just a couple of more wins so they don't get relegated. And then you don't really have the squad or the time on the training ground to do anything tactically intricate between now and the end of the season anyway. So Igor Tudor, as someone who has a reputation for being a no-nonsense kind of guy, a little bit of a disciplinarian who likes his teams to be aggressive and physical, in the extreme short term, that's probably fine. I would be surprised if he was a serious candidate to take over long term. And I think in the summer, as we all might be aware of, there are a lot of coaches that are going to be available on the market this summer. Names that have been mentioned include Roberto De Zerbi, the former Brighton coach, who's recently left Marseille. Edin Terzic, the former Dortmund coach, was apparently in the frame for the interim post, and maybe someone who might be considered for more of a long-term appointment. I think Andoni Iraola of Bournemouth will be considered. Perhaps Marco Silva of Fulham, whose contract expires at the end of the season, will also throw his hat into the ring there. So in the summer, there'll be a lot of options. But for now, Igor Tudor is the short-term appointment.
Croatian, Andy.
That's right. Hey, so
wait a second. Is Igor your middle name?
We shall leave it a mystery.
Fellow Croatian.
No, you know my middle name. We've had stories.
What was that, EA?
We've had the famous Andy Dalton TC story, or St. Lucia honeymoon story.
I thought maybe it was another nickname you were hiding from us in embarrassment.
No. So no coincidence he's been named interim, right? Because they do want to leave the options open for the summer. He didn't name Poch.
Well, I'm going to get that, but hands up of people here that had never heard of Igor Tudor before.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, thank you. So,
no.
Interesting. I think he leaves him out because he's the obvious one, and we're at the point with the Pochettino Spurs thing that I was already seeing on social media. The classic, my wife is a real estate agent and he was in London shopping for homes thing. Now, he's obviously not coming to Spurs before the World Cup.
And he had to address it publicly.
And it won't surprise me if it happens again. But again, this gets back to the thing I said earlier. If, this is the same thing people were talking about with Tuchel in England. If any World Cup manager has a awful World Cup, how much does that impact a club level team being interested in having them now when they're on the back end of a stink?
Depends who you had with the national team, what the circumstances were. If Poch was available, let's say he gets the U.S. to the round of, let's say to the quarters. That's a good run, right? Very good run.
Yeah, you and I'd be delighted by that.
Would United, and the Carrick thing doesn't work out, and he's like fair from here on out, would United be interested in Poch?
I think United would, yes. But yes is my answer to that. I think there are probably other guys they would rather have.
Yeah, okay.
Especially now that Spurs is chasing, because I would anticipate that Pochettino would rather go to Spurs and live in London.
That was my next question.
Right.
I think he wants that job back. I think he feels that there's unfinished business there.
Yeah, although I say that, but I think I remember correctly, at the end of his original Spurs run, he was very much interested in the United job at the time, but it just didn't time out right. That. If I remember, he ended up getting the PSG job, I think, ultimately. Yeah, something like that. So,
okay.
All right. Now, Lars is also a fan, and I think it's not unfair to let Lars discuss what he and other fans, what their expectations should and are be.
When it comes to what Spurs are as a club, are they a big club? Are they a small club? What should the fans expect? What should the level be? Personally, being a Tottenham fan, I think I'm probably on the more realistic end of the spectrum, but I think a lot of people feel like me as well, which is that I don't really expect to see my team win a title in my lifetime. Realistically, when you have the seventh biggest payroll, okay, resource-wise, they're probably more fifth, sixth in revenue, so maybe they can be a little bit more gutsy and spend a little bit more on payroll, but there's always going to be teams that can afford to spend quite a lot more than Tottenham, so I don't expect them to win the league really anytime soon. But I expect them, if you have the sixth highest payroll in the division, I'm expecting you to be somewhere around the sixth, seventh, thereabouts. And I'm expecting them to not play absolutely terrible football. Like, those are kind of my levels of expectations. I don't personally think that's super unrealistic. It's possible that during the quite successful years under Mauricio Pochettino, when they had Harry Kane scoring goals up front and they qualified fairly regularly for the Champions League, that expectations in certain parts of the fan base shifted. But I think by and large, Spurs fans will accept the team being the fifth, sixth best team in the country, especially if we're also having a little bit of fun. But we now finished 17th last season and we're 16th now, and this is clearly not very good. And I think given that they're also paying some of the most expensive ticket prices in England, the fact that they've only won 2 games at home all season, that is not acceptable. So interesting months ahead now for the new management group. Daniel Levy, of course, pushed out earlier this year. It's essentially the children of the majority owner, Joe Lewis, now who are in charge of running the club. They've not really done this before. Interesting to see what choices they make in the coming months.
Quick question.
Yeah.
How many glasses of wine had Lars consumed prior to recording these?
I don't know, but I love to hear. It's fun. Mad fan Lars.
Yeah.
It's fun. Not mad pundit. We've seen that Lars when he's mad about issues, but mad as a fan, it's fun.
He didn't even watch. He did not watch the United Spurs game. He said, why would I even bother watching that?
Wow. It's fun. It's just fun to see that side of Lars. By the way, Pochettino also took him to the Champions League final.
Yeah. It would be great to see Poch back there after he does something amazing in the World Cup. Can we just, if let me say this. If Pochettino's going to go out of his way to admonish his American players for talking about tickets, could he just shut up about talking about his next coaching gig?
He's asked. He's not just bringing it up.
All right.
He's asked about it. Then he has to
Well, maybe
answer,
Tim Weah
right?
was asked about tickets.
Okay, maybe.
Practice what you preach, man.
Sure. So what's a good run for the U.S.? I know we have a lot World Cup to talk about in the months ahead.
Will Spurs get relegated this year?
No, of course not. No.
They got a lot of injuries.
No, they're not going to get relegated.
They Odegaard blew out his ACL. They've lost another player.
No. You got to see either Forest or United, West Ham, the Hammers, go on a run.
West Ham,
see either one of those going on a
West
run?
Ham's playing much better these days.
That's what I said a few weeks ago.
I know.
And you're like, no, I don't see it. You're stupid.
That
what
was
are you
just
watching?
me. That was me. That was me playing radio.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
All right. All right. Well, I'll take you admitting it 2 weeks later that I was right. Okay, that's fine.
You're right. Andy's right. Very good. Well, that was a good conversation with Lars about Spurs and all that stuff. When we come back, let's do a kick-ass episode of World Cup Nerd when Maradona came to Dallas. Next year on the KickAround. Last Sunday in the Premier League, an incident occurred that actually led to what I think may fairly be described as the first time Lars and I ever actually got into a verbal disagreement. And Andy and I have yet to discuss it. So coming up in about 15 minutes, we will dig into the final moments of the Liverpool City game that happened last week here on the KickAround. That is the music for our favorite segment we're doing leading up to the World Cup Nerd. But before we do that, I should take a moment to recognize something of importance. Today, Valentine's Day, is also the day of birth for our very own Andy Swift.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter. That's right. Valentine's Day and I share a holiday.
And happy giving birthday to your mom.
Exactly. Also,
that's very important to do on a birthday.
Thank you for giving birth to me.
That's right.
I appreciate that. Thank you for the holiday makers for choosing my birthday to design a holiday around. That's pretty proud of that.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
So my question.
Twice.
That's right. We know what's going on in the Swifty household today.
Boy.
All right. So how many years young do you feel today?
I feel 22.
You feel 22.
You want to know how old I am? Is that what you're asking?
No, you don't have to tell me how old you are. I'm asking
your age. I think we're the same age.
We are?
Yeah.
Okay. I think you're a little older
Well,
than I am.
yesterday I was juggling 3 games. Do I feel my age? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
No, I feel good.
All right. We're going to do World
as long
Cup.
As we keep talking World Cup.
We're going to talk
Ecuador.
World Cup.
England.
So before we get into the thing we're going to get into, I've been getting a lot of messages and questions about the ongoing progress and status of base camps and training facilities being used by national teams during the World Cup here in the DFW area.
If we only knew.
That is taking a weird kind of turn that I'm just going to speak for myself in a way that I was not anticipating. But Andy and I have made the decision to hold off getting into those weeds really deep until all of the national teams announce officially where they're going. And that probably won't happen until after the March play-in games.
Correct.
And the other teams to be decided have picked their locations.
Yes, right, because there's 6 teams still to qualify.
Yes. I will also say there were some photos thrown out on the interweb in the last few weeks about the ongoing modifications at AT&T for the World Cup, and what they're having to do to the ground suites to account for the making the surface big enough for the field.
Right. Yeah.
Dude, that is some cool stuff going on in there. And apparently the pictures weren't supposed to be out because they pulled them off the internet about 2 days later.
Who posted? Somebody working?
The company that's actually installing the grass.
Oh, okay.
They posted some photos of how they're modifying the ground level suites in the corner.
Oh, that's funny.
Yes, but what's really cool is how they're filling the cavity of what is the ground suite. When you're on the ground level at AT&T, there's essentially a bunch of holes around the edges, which are the ground suites because they're below level. Well, the way they're filling that in so that they can go over those is fascinating engineering, and we'll talk about that more somewhere later. But now let's get into the World Cup nerd segment we wanted to talk about today, which is the great. This is actually perfect because this actually also gets an opportunity for us to marry this with Andy's soccer story time. 1994, Argentina is in the Cotton Bowl to play a World Cup game. Maradona is on the roster.
Yeah. Well, you know how excited we are that Messi is coming. Is coming to
well, maybe he is because now Messi's hurt.
Right. So he may hurt. He'll play.
He got hurt.
He will play.
He got hurt in a preseason game with Inter Miami. He's a hamstring
But
issue.
imagine all the anticipation that we are expecting Messi and Argentina to play here, and so the same was happening. That with Maradona playing, they were going to play. Argentina was going to play their third group stage match in Dallas. So Maradona, 2 World Cups removed from winning the World Cup, right? Greatest player of his time. And Argentina got off to a great start. They beat Greece in Boston 3-0. He scored his last goal for the Argentina national team that game. And then they beat Nigeria 2-1 in the second game. He assisted on both those goals. So Argentina was rolling. But then he gets chosen he's one of the ones that they draw names out of a hat, right?
Oh, that's right. The random drug test.
So after that Nigeria game, he is directed to go to the doping room.
Okay, real quick. I've always wondered this. Was there ever any, because I don't remember at the time, because Maradona's lifestyle was very much on display back at this time. And if I remember correctly...
What do you say, cocaine?
The 94 World Cup coincided with a period of time in Maradona's life where we all were pretty aware that he was a fly-by-night party boy.
Yes, this was tail end of his career. It was coming to... In fact, he hadn't played for the national team in a bit. He was having problems, injury problems, off-the-field problems.
He put on a little weight.
But
he was still Maradona.
He was still Maradona, and the teammates wanted him on the team. He finally gets called up. He comes to the World Cup, and he's playing great. The team is rolling.
Okay, so this is the question I wanted to ask, which was the fact that his name got drawn, was it ever considered to be suspicious?
That's the conspiracy, yeah. His side says totally 100% they drew his name on purpose. FIFA didn't want, any success to be thrown his way because,
he's a party boy, right?
Or whatever.
Cokehead.
Yeah, right. So either way, he's got to do the drug test, and we don't know the results, but we know that he did. And so rumors start coming out that he failed it. And with any drug test like that in a World Cup, if you fail it, there's the second test that is performed. So in the meantime, they travel to Dallas. They're here. They train here MD-1, match day -1. I think they get here MD-2.
Such big talk right there, everybody. Andy using MD-1.
No, that's match day -1.
I know.
So
but
the MD-1 training
you do understand the rank and file human being never says match day -1, Mr. Bigwig.
Okay. No, we're just educating on how to... So FIFA calls for a press conference at the Four Seasons, and then everybody knows what this is going to be about.
And young Andy was working for...
I was with ESPN. I was out at the compound at the Cotton Bowl in the production truck, and I happened to be like the only guy there other than the photographer. I was the only guy like in production that...
Did you sleep in the ESPN production truck for 6 weeks?
I was actually, because I was a researcher, I was always next door in the whatever building it was where the media worked, because we had access to computers and research materials. Because I had to come up with all
these things called computers.
I had to come up with the background info that the announcers would use during the games. Anyway, so Bob Steinfeld, famous local producer. I don't know if you know Bob Steinfeld.
I know the name.
Yeah, he's the one that won the Emmy for the Sidekicks winning. Remember when they won the in overtime? Mm-hmm. He produced that, and he won an Emmy for that. Anyway, he was the producer director, and I was in, and he's like, "We got to send somebody ASAP to this press conference. You're going. I'm going to send a photographer with you. Go, and by the way, you got to get a sound bite. You got to get a sound bite after it's done from one of the important guys." I'm like, okay. Anyway, that's beside the point. But so the place was packed. Four Seasons. It was a little theater-like room at the Four Seasons where they had press conferences. Maybe 300-400 media from around the world, and Sepp Blatter was the one that spoke to the media, and he announced that Maradona wouldn't be playing.
It just dawned on me, if I had been good at radio, I would have pulled this audio. I forgot to pull the audio.
Yeah,
I bet it's out there. I'm sure it's out there.
Yes, it is.
But I remember, we were young. We were what?
94, 26?
Yeah, 26.
Yeah.
I remember this being the greatest sports drama news story of its time.
Yeah.
Like the idea that Maradona had been busted for cocaine.
Worldwide. It was,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was huge news. Huge news.
60,000 people had a ticket for Argentina, Bulgaria to see Argentina just cruise past Bulgaria onto the next round. Bulgaria won that game, but Maradona didn't play. But my hand did make it to Sports Center because I did get to I don't know if it was Blatter or one of the other guys that was there. And I did get the soundbite that they needed.
See Andy rewinding and fast forwarding his VHS tape.
This is my hand.
Mom, look, it's my hand.
Yeah, exactly. It's fun.
You should have a still of that framed and hanging up somewhere in your office.
I should. You know what? That would be. I'd need to find that.
It's a great idea.
I need to find that. But It's crazy how much, because Argentina had won in '86, gotten to the final in '90. This is the '86 World Cup. Obviously, that was Maradona's. World Cup, and it was the Maradona World Cup as well. Far and away, he was the best player in that World Cup. But he also, was on the team that got to the final of the '90 World Cup. They weren't very good, or as good as they were in '86, but they still clawed their way to the final. And Manny said it was Maradona's influence and leadership and blah, blah, blah. So this is why the players wanted him to play in '94, even though he was slightly out of shape. And, they just get inspired by this guy, and they were cruising. And it's amazing how after he was suspended off the team, that team they took a nosedive. They lost the first round, or the first game of the knockout rounds, and that was it.
He's the spirit of the team. He was
back then.
Yeah. Even though they all knew he was wild and crazy and unpredictable.
And the thing is, an out of shape Maradona, it's like Valderrama, who wouldn't play outside of 10 square yards. He just one touch.
Right.
And he sets up a guy for a perfect opportunity for a goal. So,
have you ever met Maradona?
No. Yeah, no. Have you?
No. Well, of course not. No, I did cocaine with him once back in '96.
Was it in Barcelona or in Napoli?
Both. We actually it was a bender. Yeah.
You were on the list. You were on the Maradona list.
Yeah, me and
Maradona's
him.
list.
Yeah.
Okay.
He and I were buddies back in the day.
I have the little clip.
Ooh, good job, EA. Play it, buddy.
See?
Diego Maradona de la Copa Mundial.
Second point, the Argentina Football Association has informed this morning the FIFA Organizing Committee that Diego Armando Maradona has been withdrawn from the World Cup.
Punto 3.
Silence.
En vista de esta decisión, la FIFA estudiará los aspectos disciplinarios de este caso después de la Copa Mundial. Mientras el caso
what's interesting?
I don't understand
They led
Spanish.
with Spanish.
Right, because that's the bigger.
And I guess, it was Maradona in the media. Blatter.
In view of this decision, FIFA will make a ruling on the disciplinary aspects of the case after this World Cup. And until the case is finally settled, Diego Maradona remains suspended from all footballing activity.
Blatter wasn't the president, by the way. He wasn't the president. It was Avalanche. He was the general secretary in that capacity there.
Imagine that same press conference happening in June of this year in New York or Dallas, wherever, about, and I'm not going to pick a name in particular, but just any big level name player suddenly now being suspended because of, that's just, it would be massive. It would just be the headline of the week for 100%.
But it happened in Dallas, and he was going to play in Dallas, so we never got to see Maradona play here in Dallas. That would have been something.
Andy is right. As they were speaking, it says Dallas, Texas on the little banner on the bottom. So there you go.
Yeah, that's right.
You were not lying.
No, I was there, so I know it was in Dallas.
I just want to give credit to EA for being quick on the draw, finding the audio. I didn't even have to ask him. I will officially file that as an appeal for falling asleep on the radio on another show last week. So that should overcome for that, EA.
Again,
good for
that
you.
was not on shift, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, all right. There you go, World Cup nerd. When Maradona kind of, but didn't really come to town. When we come back, Andy and I will dig into that insanely weird and debatable incident against Liverpool and City next here on the KickAround. Don't look now, but apparently playing an attacking 10 role for Juve is our very own Little Elm's Weston McKennie, who now has a second assist in the game and brought Juve back to a 2-2 tie against league leaders Inter.
So we feel better about Pulisic's injury now, right?
Pulisic doesn't play the 10 for one.
Yeah,
Two.
Yeah.
I think I don't know who exactly to credit Weston's resurgence in form and everything, but I do think Pochettino somehow, some way played a big part in it.
You do.
I think
For
Pochettino
off the field, taking care of yourself off field.
that, and you don't come to the national team to go party and hang out with your family and play golf. You come here for a business and a job. And I think he somehow has, because all that part where we were all starting to all quietly wonder if Weston would be the guy not put on a World Cup roster. Suddenly he just burst back on the scene, and I think that had a lot to do with it. So
who's going to be the guy left out? Coming to a kick around near you.
Yes, absolutely.
Soon. We'll talk about that.
All right, so last Sunday was the Liverpool City game. Liverpool had taken a 1-0 lead, and
by the way, I'm sorry, but the 1-0 lead, the goal,
yeah,
right?
Well, yeah, okay. There's two things about this game which have been completely not given
That's the worst part.
100% coverage it deserves. The Slobosai free kick is it almost begins to approach Roberto Carlos territory.
It's just under, not quite, but it was amazing.
It's unbelievably good. And two, the Donnarumma save at the end of the game to keep it from going
2-1. It would have been 2-1.
Was equally as stunning. I mean, it's such a good save.
It would have been 2-2. He saved it from being
That's
thrown.
right. It would have been 2-2. Is so good. But because of what happened in the last minute of the game, a lot of that has been dismissed. But go back, you will see the Slobosai free kick and the Donnarumma save and highlight reels of Premier League seasons and Liverpool City highlights for eternity. They were that good. But at the end of the game, if you haven't seen, City is up 2-1 at this point. Time is running out. I think it's literally the last minute of added time. And Shirky gets a ball at midfield, and he kind of he hits it, but keeps it on the ground like he's trying to pass it in the goal from 60 yards away.
Yeah, because Allison is caught up on
because
there
was a corner kick or something.
So it's an empty netter.
It's an open net, and he underhits it, but I think he's trying to be accurate because I don't know if you know this, but when you're that far away from the goal, it's way harder to put the ball in the net than you think it is. And so he kind of half hits it, and it's on its way. And when that ball is played, well, lo and behold, Erling Haaland, the giant freight train, Ferrari-sized freight train, goes running at it. Slobosai, who's the last man back for Liverpool, is running after him. And when Erling gets to the top of the 18, Slobosai kind of pulls his shirt, slows Erling down, and then is able to almost slingslot himself around Erling Haaland in his own attempt to try to get to the ball first. And that's when Erling pulls his shirt, and the ball goes in the net.
Yeah.
And we think, they're going to call, and it's 3-1.
Yeah, so the order is Slobosai fouls Haaland.
With a shirt pull.
Right. Ball keeps going forward. Both keep going forward. Then Haaland is the one that fouls Slobosai.
Yep.
And then the ball ends up going in.
Going in the net.
Okay.
3-1. And we think, wow, that's a crazy end of this game.
And the referee called goal.
And it registers up on the score bug, and we all think, now I'm curious because I know as a former very low-level, entry-level referee, I know what I was saying out loud at the time. What were you thinking in the moment?
Okay, this first of all, what VAR then made him go look at it.
Yes.
Finish that.
Oh,
first.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Finish with the outcome first.
Because that's why I asked the question, because I immediately said, what's funny about this is technically by the letter of the law, it should be a dog-so and a red card, and the goal comes off and a free kick out. I mean, that's immediately what I said out loud.
Okay.
But I'll explain why I didn't think that was necessarily the right thing to do. But that's what happens. Pawson is then told to go to the monitor and then adjudicate what actually happened correctly per the letter of the law.
Called the first foul, red card because he was the last offender.
Right.
And no goal. Now, when it's happening, what at the time, like I'm watching live, I thought the referee, and I think he did, called advantage. Because it was an obvious foul on Haaland, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Haaland kept going. The ball kept going forward. Haaland kept going forward. So it looks like Haaland has a clear chance on goal. So I think he calls advantage, right? He doesn't call the foul because he doesn't want to bring that back.
Correct.
Okay.
I mean, yes. Now, whether or not he actually called advantage mentally or actually physically showed advantage by throwing his arms forward or saying something out loud, I don't know.
Right. We don't know that because it was never talked about after, but I think he did. And then if Holland then fouls, there's a new snapshot, right? Once he calls advantage and the play develops, don't you restart?
That's a really weird gray area you get into. So you're saying that if you give advantage, then the dog-so goes away?
Yeah, you give advantage, the play continues, new snapshot, now foul. Let's say you give advantage, there's no foul, and Holland shoots wide. It's a goal kick, right?
Man, that's...
Or do you bring it back because he missed the goal?
So that's
how advantage works.
Well, there's a lot of gray area around application of advantage and whether or not you then still owe or hold the response. So
how long do you let it go?
So, for example, if a foul happens in the middle of the field and you don't want to stop play, you want the play to keep going on, you're allowed to go back and hand the yellow card or a red card out once play is over. So I think in this particular incident, in the way that you're thinking about it, I still think he called it correctly on the field.
By allowing the goal.
Yes, because I'm of the and Lars and I on his Lars Resort podcast earlier this week got into what I think might be our first fight.
Your little spat?
We got into a spat. Lars very much thinks that you can't let referees not follow the... He makes it so simple. Oh, so what you're saying, Peter... I wish I could do a Lars impersonation. Is you're just saying referees should not be asked to follow the laws of the game?
He's being sarcastic, but what he's saying is if we're going to have VAR and you do go to VAR and we have all this VAR stuff, then you do have to follow the letter of the law.
Yes. I don't know if this concept is a global referee educational thing or if it was a very American thing, but when I was taking my courses way back in the day, there was this thing called Law 18. You know, there are 17 laws in the laws of the game. Law 18 was this kind of unspoken 18th rule that was based on the concept of common sense. Apply common sense in a game as the game tells you it needs to be applied. And that's really how it should be done.
Okay, so let's go through the common sense. So the first foul happens. He doesn't call it. Because the play continues and he's like,
he lets it go.
Team has an advantage.
That ball is going in the net.
And then Holland fouls. At that point, you call the foul. That's common sense.
And I'll tell you why. Because if you go back and watch it, when Holland fouls Slobosai, the ball is still going on the net. The Liverpool player isn't even inside the 6-yard box. He's not going to get to that ball, even if Erling Haaland does not pull his shirt. That ball is going in the net. And when it was all said and done, nobody was jumping up and down asking for a foul to be called or a red card to be handed out. Everybody was pretty much cut and dried, done with the game at that point. And that's kind of how Law 18, as I was taught, is supposed to be implemented, which is, look, if players aren't jumping up and down and asking for something, and it doesn't really change anything in the context of the moment, don't create the trouble.
Yeah, but in this day and age with VAR and things come back because of VAR, you can't be gray like that. It has
and this is the thing that I'm willing to admit, which is the introduction of VAR was the ruin of Law 18.
Yeah, probably. Right. So the
ruin of common sense.
Yeah, there was the Aston Villa, the first goal, like this round of FA Cup doesn't have VAR. Right? And Aston Villa, you didn't see that game, but Aston Villa...
The goalkeeper red card?
No, the first goal. Their first goal, he was offside.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and replay showed he was up. Nobody could complain. There's no VAR.
Oh, the good old days.
Do you want that, or do you want VAR?
The problem is the way that they've instituted VAR isn't the way they told us was. They told us they were going to introduce VAR based on clear and obvious errors. And I'm not sure in the incident with Liverpool and City that is a clear and obvious error on Pawson's part on either part of that.
No, you're right.
But on an offside, if he's clear and obviously offside, yes.
You're right. If VAR said that and they really were doing that, this wouldn't be a case.
No.
But VAR said that, but they're not doing that, and we've moved past that.
Yes.
We are way past that at only clear and obvious errors. It's not part of VAR.
No,
now.
FIFA, some bigwig this week was quoted talking about how he's worried that VAR has gotten too micromanagement.
Yeah, so, but it is what you can't be gray with VAR. VAR is either going to be what it is or it's not. Anyway, so ultimate outcome is that Lars wants the decision that was ultimately
our old
made.
friend, the VAR alarm.
Yes, we haven't heard that one in a while. Lars wants the decision that was actually made, right?
Mm-hmm.
Red card and free kick. You want the goal to stand. I want free kick Liverpool. No goal, no red card. Foul on Holland. Advantage, play on, new snapshot, foul. Sorry.
Oh.
That's what I want.
You
that's
want
what it should have been.
You want the dumbest of all results.
No,
is
that's
what
the
you
right
want.
result.
It is funny how much things have changed because we now live in a time where people are very binary about this stuff. People want offsides being decided on kneecaps and fingernails and things like that. And there's a whole story I ended up example. We're running late, but so Lars and I clicked drinks and cheers and agreed to disagree. We made up. We kissed and made up.
Is he still coming for World Cup?
He's still coming for World
right.
Cup. Yes,
Okay.
yes. All right. Well, I'm sorry Liverpool lost. Well, no, I'm not because they're still behind my team in the table. So.
This is the worst type of human being.
You're still up 3-0 in the FA Cup, so good for you. You're going to progress there. Okay. All right, there you go. There's the discussion of the incident. When we come back, we'll get into America's favorite soccer segment, known as The Dribble, next on the old Olympics up on the TVs here in the Ticket Studios, and Andy and I are having a conversation about how the biggest star of the Olympics has turned out to be drones.
The drone.
And the footage is just like when they were doing downhill.
Yeah, we're so used to drones just being the beauty shots, right? And that's all they were used for up to now. And now they're used like to show quote, in-game action. I mean, racing is not game, but they're amazing. And it gives you real-time feel of the speed.
Yeah.
That,
they're doing the speed skating, the side, the side-by-side speed skating, racing. And they've got the little drone. Like my wife was shocked to learn that drones can be that small and create that kind of video quality.
Even smaller.
Yeah, I know. And it just makes me wonder, Andy, when are we going to start seeing tiny drones flying around soccer games?
Immediately. Football.
Baseball.
Yeah.
When will be the first time a unwired drone gets knocked out of the air by a soccer ball
or a football.
some sort of ball? Yeah.
Funny.
When will that be the first time that happens in a sport?
Ball was going out and hit a drone. Suddenly it's a double, not a home run.
All right. It's the last segment. Let's end the show with America's favorite soccer segment known as The Dribble. Andy, I know that you've won your FA Cup game today over Brighton 3-0.
Is it over?
It is over. Okay. But I also wanted to brighten your day up with some more Liverpool success. On the heels of losing to City the other day.
I don't know where this is going.
No, this is good news.
Okay. I hate you.
Liverpool has announced that they are the most visited club website in the world.
Most club website, not just website.
Soccer club website.
Look at us. Look at us.
That's right.
And you're probably
20% increase over the previous season.
Wonder why that is.
86.8 million visits.
What do you
since
think
you
that
won
is?
You won the title.
But other teams are like City has won 3-4 titles. They don't have the fan base. I wonder if Arsenal wins the title.
Oh, could you imagine?
Then
yeah, it would be nuts. I was a bit surprised by that, but kudos to them.
That it wasn't United?
No,
or Real Madrid?
It was, it's a significant deal.
Mm-hmm.
So good. Congratulations,
Thank
Andy.
you.
Will you put something up on your wall, like the shirt when you won? Have you put your shirt up from last year?
I have not. I have to frame it. I haven't framed it yet.
Do we need to get a framing sponsor for the KickAround so we can get your shirt framed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Find one.
The dark story of Thomas Partey. I still wonder if we're ever going to take the time to go back and reconsider how Arsenal handled the Thomas Partey situation.
I mean,
well, you'd been
that they'd stuck too long with him.
Well, they were clearly starting the guy after he obviously had been accused of some heinous crimes that, if it had happened over here in the United States, would have played itself out in the media much differently.
Right, but don't the laws there prevent you from jumping to conclusions like that?
Yes, 100%. It's a very different set of laws. He has now been charged with 2 more counts of rape.
You always wonder, like, when more step up and say, hey.
And this isn't new counts of rape, like, lately. This is dating back to the same period of time, and the offenses were reported in August of 25.
But different victims.
Yeah, yes.
Multiple victims.
Yeah, it's not good. No, not good. Curious if we ever go back and revisit that. Interesting stuff happening in some of the other leagues.
Name one.
Major League Soccer and Liga MX obviously have the Leagues Cup, which is a tournament between the 2 leagues that has been going on now for a few years. Your mileage may vary, but historically the tournament has been played exclusively in the United States at MLS clubs.
Right.
Well, in the last week or so, we've started to hear noise that it looks like some of these games are going to be played in Mexico, which would be a huge improvement for the tournament.
It would.
But I have a feeling a club that will be participating in playing these said games in Mexico is your very own Football Club Dallas, because they qualified for the playoffs last year, which means they're playing in Leagues Cup, not FA Cup. That's how MLS breaks that up.
U.S. Open Cup.
U.S. Open Cup, sorry. That would be really weird.
Wow.
And because Leagues Cup is taking place at a period in time where Toyota Stadium isn't just under construction but completely shut down, they can't play Leagues Cup. They won't. I can't imagine they'll be allowed to play Leagues Cup games in Toyota Stadium. And if FC Dallas is paired against a Club America or a Tigres or a Chivas, where would they play that game in the Dallas-Fort Worth area with enough seats?
Right. Well, how many does Mansfield seat?
7,500.
Yeah, and Toyota is 18 to 20.
Right.
Well, Cotton Bowl?
They're not going to the Cotton Bowl. You think the Hunts are doing the city of Dallas any favors? No. So I think what's going to happen is that Dallas will end up playing their games, some of their games or many of their games in Mexico.
I can't opine because I'm not up to speed on the new change where some games were. They haven't said which games are going to go.
No, they haven't. But I'm speculating here. I speculate FC Dallas will play most of their games at their new facility in the stadium in Mansfield, which will have just opened up. But because it's too small, if they are playing a Chivas or a Club America, those games will be played in Mexico.
Okay.
That's what I think will happen.
Okay.
Don't forget, MLS, after this season, at the first half of the 27 season, are going to play a mini-season, and then they're going to take a summer break, and then they're going to flip to the FIFA calendar and start playing in August of 27 into 28. And from then on forward, MLS will follow that calendar. Well, you know who else is doing this?
Well, from our run sheet, can I guess?
Sure.
The J-League.
Yes. Japan is doing the same, and they announced the other day for that little mini-season, no games will end in draws.
What?
League games will end in a shootout if, in fact...
35-yard line shootout?
No, it says a traditional from the spot shootout.
Man, they were so close.
I was
so close.
I was really excited over the idea.
So why is that? What's the thinking behind that?
Crunch time. They don't want... I think it means that the table at the end is less likely to end up with ties and so forth.
Okay.
And so if you're deciding games as wins and losses, now what they're going to do that's interesting is if you go to penalty kicks, the winner will get 2 points.
Yeah.
The loser will still get 1.
Yeah, similar to hockey.
Yeah, I think it's very similar to hockey. So that will begin in February and end in June in 2027.
So, but why are they shortening?
Because they're flipping to the calendar
also,
too. Yes.
Oh, I didn't know this. You should.
Sorry, they're doing
this,
and in fact, they're doing it. They're doing it this year. I'm sorry, I was stating it wrong. They're starting it in 2026. They're playing a mini season now between now and June.
Okay.
And then they will pick up on the new calendar after the World Cup in 26.
Okay.
I think I'm reading that correctly.
So the short season is this spring.
Right now, getting ready to
Yeah.
start
And
until
then-
June, until the World Cup.
And post World Cup, they start the new.
They'll start the new
calendar.
calendar, and draws won't, and they'll play the games normally. They're just doing it for this one window of time, a new mini season.
We have the mini season spring of 2027,
correct.
and then the new calendar starting
Yes.
in fall. Okay.
Yes. The MLS this season will kick off literally in like 10, 11 days.
Yeah. That's a lot of time.
And then we'll take a break during the World Cup and then pick back up and then push off into the winter.
So where am I going for MLS Cup? Like, when is MLS Cup 2026? It'll be regular time?
Say that again?
When is MLS Cup 2026?
It'll probably be early December of this year.
Okay.
What are you worried about?
No, I'm making nothing. I'm making sure that we're telling the story right.
You've got to go to World Cup 31?
No, that we are telling this. We are correct about this then, right? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. The short season happens.
The MLS short season
happens
happens
in
next spring,
2027.
a
Got
year
it.
from
Okay.
now. Yes, a year from now. We'll take a summer break and then pick up with the 27-28 season in August of that year.
Okay.
And then MLS will introduce a 6 or 7 week winter break at the end of 2027 into 28.
We just gave a lot of people tired.
That's tired head, yeah.
I'm so
and
confused
to
now.
end the show, the funniest thing
too.
I have seen in some time, over in the Portuguese league, two teams, one has a rival. And at halftime of their game, they announced that their rival was defeated and would now be relegated.
What?
So, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Just the two teams, big rivals.
Yeah.
One team is playing somebody else, but at halftime, it turns out the other team, the rival, has lost the game, has finished their game and lost, which means they are now doomed to relegation.
Okay.
And at halftime, the announcer announced this loss. They turned the lights off, and all the fans raised their phones, and they had a funeral for their rivals at halftime.
I thought you were going to say they lost on purpose so they could also get relegated.
No. They all held their phones up and had a lights off in the stadium funeral for their opponents in real time over in the Portuguese league. How awesome is that?
Yeah.
That is beautiful stuff. All right, that does it. I don't have the closing theme here because I don't have my thing. So there you go. If you have it, you can play it. No, that's not it. That's the opening. That's the wrong one, EA. All right, you just all the good stuff.
Where's the closing theme? He's not going to have that.
The device that I use.
You
broke.
always play the closing
I know.
theme. It's
I blew
never
it.
come out of the
I
control
blew it.
room.
It's my fault. It's 1,000%
Can
my
you
fault.
sing it?
Why don't you sing it?
Yeah, if you would have said something, we could have found it.
You could have brought a little little horn or something.
No, I could have played it on mine.
It's not a big deal. It's not that big.
Okay.
I'll throw it in on the podcast version later on. I'll edit it in. Nobody will know any different because nobody listens to the radio version live.
I think EA should take us out with a song.
Yeah, EA, can you sing?
Can you sing?
Can you sing, EA?
All right. Okay. Yeah. Keep going, EA. Keep going. Okay. Say your thing. Say it.
No, I'm laughing. All right, we will not be here next week. It is ticket stock, boys and girls, good P1. So we'll be taking a week off and be back after that. Thank you to Dixon for doing tickers. Thank you to Heroic EA for pulling double duty and the sweet thing that he did earlier in the show today. Andy, thanks for doing the show today. Thanks to Lars for checking in. And thank you, P1s. We love and adore you. Go on out there, get stuck in, and win the 50s. I am horny.